Yeah, hello. Here is the mind map for risk management planning. The key thing about risk management planning is it happens throughout the project. It is not a one-time activity. It starts at the time of initiation and continues till the end of the project. The risk can be classified based on the source, primarily from where it is coming from. It can be a requirements related defect risk, it can be a contract related risk, it can be manpower related risk, so it can be technology related risk. So one type of classification is source based classification of the risk. Another version is based on whether it's a known risk or it's an unknown risk or known unknowns. A known risk means you know that okay, that risk is there. That is a known risk. A known unknown is maybe you are operating some part of the project which you are unable to execute, unable to estimate, and you are operating it through a control account or a provisional account. Then we say that okay, we know that we don't know about it. That is a known unknown. Maybe I have high blood pressure and I have not checked it for a very long time, and so I know that I don't know about it. That is the known unknowns. Then another set of risks are there. That is an insurable risk which can be insured. A business risk cannot be insured. I cannot start a business and then look for insurance coverage if I make a loss. No insurance company will give me that. So you can classify risk based on whether it is an insurable risk or a non-insurable risk. Then negative risk. If the risk happens, the impact would be negative. Then we have something called positive risk as well. Some risks are negative, some risks are positive. An example for a positive risk is, now let's say you inaugurated a website and expected 25,000 users to come on the first day, and then unfortunately or fortunately you have 2 million users coming into your website on the same day, and if it is not managed well, the site can crash. But if it is managed well, then it is more visitors to a site, which is a very positive thing. So risk can be a negative risk or a positive risk as well. Checklist is a tool which primarily used for risk identification, and as we discussed earlier, it happens throughout the project. And if you review the agreements, that may be a great source for risk identification. A work breakdown structure analysis also will throw out some risk, because in the WBS section we discussed about work packages operated through control accounts where we don't have complete visibility. So every work package that is operated through a control account is a clean risk. We already discussed about positive risk. There are negative risk as well as positive risk. We already discussed about it. And business risk. If I start a business, it can generate profit, or sometimes it may be in loss as well. So a business risk I cannot insure. No insurance company will give me insurance coverage for a business risk. Then unknown risk. Primarily we talk about force majeure kind of thing, like an earthquake or a war. In the contractual terms we call it as a force majeure thing. That is an unknown risk. Then another form of classification is effect based. If this risk happens, will it have an impact on the schedule? If the risk happens, will it have an impact on the cost? So where it is going to impact, that is an effect based classification. So these views are not complete. We can add to this, but then these are the key things that is given in the project management body of knowledge, and I can think of. So risk management happens throughout the project, and every risk we cannot manage, so we have to prioritize. The first prioritization is qualitative risk analysis. When we say qualitative, every for every risk we attach a probability factor, maybe from 1 to 10 or zero point 0.1 to 1. There is no standard for this. This is all guided by organizational policies. Then another categorization will be based on the impact, again maybe from 1 to 5 or 0.1 to 1. Organizations can decide. So higher the number, higher is the impact, or higher the number, higher is the probability. So every risk is rated based on a probability number and an impact number, and P into I. We multiply the probability with impact and we get the P into I. So the P into I is also known as expected value or the expected monetary value of a risk. Then based on the P into I, we may have some cutoff, like if the P into I is above 30 and above, we'll be managing. The rest can be under observation. So this is again not a standard. It could vary from company to company. So once we apply this threshold to the P into I, or the expected value or the expected monetary value, then we can filter out a segment of the risk which really needs attention immediately. So those risks will undergo quantitative risk analysis. There we use techniques like decision trees, simulation techniques. So a decision tree helps us to really evaluate the most effective risks based on putting a value to the entire path of that risk. So decision trees we'll be explaining separately, not in this session. So that will come in as a separate presentation soon. Simulation techniques, okay, even decision tree is a simulation technique. There could be other simulation techniques like Monte Carlo analysis, Monte Carlo analysis, and a lot of other simulation techniques could be there. Then whatever is shortlisted after this qualitative risk analysis and quantitative risk analysis, we plan risk response planning happens against them. Primarily we are going to talk about what are the things we should be doing to reduce the probability or to reduce the impact or to reduce both, so that P into I will be lesser. The expected value or the expected monetary value of the risk can be reduced. So again, strategies for risk response planning would be risk avoidance. Something is risky, don't do it. That is risk avoidance. Maybe smoking is bad for health, don't smoke a cigarette. That is risk avoidance. Risk transference. Taking an insurance is a clean example for risk transference. Or outsourcing a piece of work which is really complex. That can be another example of risk transference. Risk acceptance, okay, I'm willing to take it, so that is risk acceptance. And risk control, you accept the risk and you try to control it through proper risk management, that is risk control. So this would have given you a general idea of the workflow of planned risk management process. The first thing is you come out with a risk register. The key thing about risk register is it contains all probable risk, and it is not a one-time activity. It continues throughout the project. Then whatever is identified, it gets into qualitative risk analysis, where we associate a probability factor and an impact factor to every risk. And you categorize, you filter out by applying a threshold of P into I, which is also known as expected value or the expected monetary value of the risk. Then whatever is shortlisted, we perform quantitative risk analysis, and whatever is filtered, which is primarily simulation techniques, and whatever comes out of that, we apply risk response planning. So this is the flow of risk, the risk management processes under the planning process group of PMBOK version 5, which is the latest. I hope that you got a fair idea of the workflow of risk management. In case you want to contact me, post it as a comment. If you want to clarify something, post it as a comment in the just below the video so that I can respond to that. Thank you very much.